Well, hey everyone, I'm Brett. I'm an alcoholic. Couple disclaimers. Unfortunately, I do swear sometimes, my bad. And also, self-harm will be coming up a couple times. It's part of my story. Just a heads up. Um, well, I guess it all started. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, Huntersville, and then moved to Mooresville as I progressed. I grew up in Sugar Creek, which would surprise some people, um, and always felt different from everyone else. I got along with everyone. I had a great childhood, great parents, and really the indicators that I might have an issue was my desire for escapism at every moment. I always wanted to be someone else. I never saw the effort that everyone else was putting in. I just saw the reward for their hard work. That should be better. Um, I, uh, I envied everyone else. I did not want to be myself in any moment. And that continued on from being a child, teenager, into adulthood. Um, it, it wasn't until fourth grade, on the last day of school, that I knew that I was truly, the definition of me being different was actually concrete. They pulled me out to run a series of tests the whole day. No one would ever tell me why. No one told me if I was doing good or bad. With someone with ADHD is not a good idea. Um, I need rewards, and I need my work to reflect what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm confused. And so I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2000. Pretty severe ADHD as I got older, and I've learned that being weird is not as bad as what people say. That's basically how I've summed it up in my sobriety. But growing up knowing that you think differently than everyone else and behave differently than everyone else is it's a handicap. And I didn't know that there was this cure to my uncomfortableness in life until I was 16 years old, and I was over at my uncle's house, and Coors Light in a basement with my cousins was introduced into my life, and all my uncomfortability washed away. I was funny, charismatic. I was open to having fun rather than reflecting on how I'm behaving in the moment, which is a constant still to this day. And that's when that moment was like, I gotta get my hands on more of this stuff. I gotta figure this out. I'm only 16, but I immediately wanted to keep going. I woke up the next day wanting more. Not a good sign for a 16-year-old. And it wasn't until I graduated high school with an okay grade average and got into UNC Pembroke, which was one of 3 schools that actually accepted me. And that's when I decided to go pro. That's the first year, studied hard, played hard on the weekends, normal college kid. Second year, moved in with a buddy of mine who drank like I drank. And that's all you really want as an alcoholic, is someone that you can feel like your addiction is normal around. We need to feel justified that we're just bored, we're angry, we want to have a good time, so we drink. And we were on Indian territory, so the laws didn't apply to us. We were allowed to purchase at 19, 20, no issues at all. Great college for an alcoholic. I saw that there were perks to the drugs and alcohol that I couldn't have while I was sober. I feel uncomfortable in my own skin 99% of the time. Confidence is only gained the more I drink. So I saw it as a solution to the syndrome I have in my brain. I didn't think anything of it. We were in college, everyone drank. Problem was that one group of people drank one night, another group of people drank the next night, Another group of people drank the next night, and I was there for all three of them. So while I felt normal, I was certainly destroying any progress I was making at school at this point. Junior year, I moved off campus, and at that point, I remember the day I got my ID, it was game over. Like that was when true alcoholism ran the course through me. I was every day missing class. If someone were to accuse me of being something as dirty as an alcoholic, I would stop being friends with that person. I wanted nothing to do with anyone that called me out for my behavior, and I just sought other alcoholics that were also in school, and they became my best friends. They made me feel normal, and we were all there to have a good time. And we probably had a combined GPA of 2. The burnouts. We were sick and tired of being different, but when we drank, we were at any party that would have us. We were a good time, and people invited us over because we were ready to make everyone feel better. That's another condition I've had my entire life, is trying to be an absolute people pleaser. To my own demise, as long as I can make you laugh or have a good time, I didn't care how much it damaged me, because I wanted you to think I was cool. I have, up until 18 and a half months ago, I had very little regard for my own self. I was always putting others in front of me, and through therapy and AA, I've realized that I need to start switching that around. And it's been 18 months of trying to rewire your brain, but with sobriety you can do it. Back to college. I also get distracted very easily, so I will go off on tangents. Senior year, it was over. Beginning of senior year, I had no objective other than to drink my way out of school. I was going to have a great time doing it from what I can remember, but that's when the memories start fading pretty fast. I don't know what classes I had because I never went to them. I don't remember. I literally have like 5 memories of senior year, and that's all I have to hold on to. It was every day, wake up, figure out how I'm going to get alcohol, because I didn't do drugs because I don't like drug dealers. That's the only reason I'm not an NA member, is because they don't have store hours and they don't greet you when you come through the door. I wanted alcohol because it was the easier, softer way. That's what we all wanted. I stuck with the easier, softer way of trying to gain momentum in my social life. And by the end of senior year, I moved back home with my parents, and that's when the hate started. That's when everyone else was a problem, and I was the biggest one. I got a job dispatching for a giant property in Charlotte, which basically meant that I watched cameras at night and drank during the day. That was an alcoholic's dream of a job, because everyone left you alone. And then by the end of the day, you get to go home and drink until the next shift. And that cycle continued for quite a long time. My resume has probably 20 different jobs on it from 22 to 34. And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of guessing on a lot of the months and years with most of them, because I truly have no idea. But I was always taught, work hard. So I made sure to get to my 40, 60 hours, do a good job, and then go home so I can feel comfortable. I could forget who I was for 4 to 5 hours at a time. That's all I wanted, was to forget that I existed. And it worked until it didn't. I mean, you can try to drink more, but you're chasing the dragon at that point, and it's eventually going to crumble. And it did quite a few times. I've been found in hotel rooms by cops After a 5-day bender, my parents had to come pick me up from that. I actually surprisingly remember that one. Um, I, I, I wanted to die only so that I didn't exist in people's minds anymore. That I wanted to disappear more than I wanted to die, but that's really hard to do. And the self-hate that I carried with me was a vicious cycle. I hated myself because I was a drunk, and I was a drunk because I hated myself. And once you're on that merry-go-round, it's hard to figure out any other solution. A sober person would tell you to stop drinking. It's not an option. Not an option. I'm going to do this. I'm good at it, and I'm going to do it until my last day. That was my mindset. Up until 28 years old, that was my absolute mindset, is that I'm going to do this, and then one day I'll die. Not going to leave anything behind. I'm just going to hope that everyone forgets that I was even on this earth. And there were a few attempts in that time, and if you walk around hating yourself every day, and you don't get help, and you continue the cycle, it's gonna get real dark real fast, especially if you don't tell anyone. If you do not seek out any help, it's only gonna get worse. And I had help in the own house, and I refused to ask for any of it, because that would admit defeat, and I couldn't take another loss. I lost every day, and I couldn't admit that I had a problem. I would take "Are you an alcoholic?" tests, and every single one of them would be like, yeah, you are. I'm like, that's internet quizzes. What are we talking about here? I didn't want to admit it. I was an alcoholic that never drove drunk, ever. That was not me. Until I needed to get to the gas station. Then my priorities started slipping. Again, it's a progressive cycle, and it gets worse the longer you're on that ride. And I know that now. I didn't back then. But as far as my 20s go, I'm running on 10% memory at best. So if it's inaccurate to those that do remember, please tell me after. I'm sure that my family knew everything that was going on the whole time, and I didn't think of them once while I was active. I'm sure my father could see the signs almost immediately, probably during college, probably way before. I'm sure my mom has been on the phone with plenty of people asking, "How's Brett?" And there's just a deep sigh before anything is explained. And I'm sure my sister, watching her brother drink 9 years straight and have zero progress to show for it, probably made an impact. And living amends is about the only thing I can hold on to for that. And taking it one day at a time so I never have to torture any family or friends for the rest of my days. Because I was a liar, a cheat, and a thief, and I was good at all three. If I didn't have a place to stay, I would make sure to twist the knife on anyone that was available to help. If I needed something and you had it, I'll help you look for it, but I need it more than you do. And if I am coming home drunk once again, I will talk you into a corner of madness so you will leave me alone. And until I was about 25, 26, I was torturing my family and friends until I found people that drank like me, who also tortured their family and friends, and we moved in together, and it was a time. I was finally with people that thought I was normal because they wanted to think they were normal. And every day was chaos in that house, and a lot of cops were called, the fire departments were called, but we continued because we had no other option. And then I knew I was an alcoholic because those two pulled me aside one day and said, "You gotta chill, man." First AA meeting I ever went to was because two guys who were currently drunk at the time told me that I needed to relax. So I went to Easy Does It in Huntersville, picked up my first white chip. Terrified, didn't share. Everyone stared at me when they were like, "Are there any newcomers here?" Like, we don't know who has never been to that meeting. They're like, no. And then the second time around with the white chip came, and the guy walked over, handed it to me, and hugged me. See, the thing about being Brett Myers is that there's a father figure involved, and he is well known through most of Alcoholics Anonymous at this point. And I'm sure my stories have been shared in his shares during that whole time I was drinking. So everyone knew my name. Everyone at the grocery store who I don't know came up, shook my hands as I had 2 Ice House 40s in my basket, and they were like, hope to get to see you again, man. I didn't know what they meant. I didn't know who these people were. But they knew that where I belonged a lot earlier than I did. And I do belong here. I didn't want to be myself, and as far as alcohol was concerned, it was willing to make me forget as much as I wanted. And that's why alcohol is not even a top 5 drug. But forgetting who you are is why I drank it. I didn't drink it for the taste. I didn't drink it for the fuzzy feel. I drank it so that I could forget who I was and be at peace for 4 to 5 hours. That was what I was craving the whole time. Shit, I got off track. So yeah, first AA meeting I went to, it was more, once again, motivation on why you go is very important. I went so that they would leave me alone. Not a good start. I went maybe once a week, went home, drank every single time. But it felt good to get to that meeting. I don't know why. I wasn't practicing these principles in all my affairs at the time, but it felt like maybe for an hour I could be responsible. And it's that itch that you get to know that when you see people at the most important time in an AA meeting for a newcomer is chips. I still remember to this day a guy who will go unnamed, Josh, picked up a 5-month chip in front of me, and all of a sudden it turned around. Because I didn't think any of you guys were sober for 5 months. I thought we were just taking this one day at a time. We were getting some nice short streaks going, and then, like werewolves, every full moon we'd go out and have a good time. Boy, when I first heard someone pick up 5 months, that was when the envy that I've carried with me through my entire life actually worked to my benefit for once. Because if he can do it, maybe I can just listen to what people tell me and I can sort this whole thing out. I didn't care about being proud of myself or mending relationships. I just wanted to wake up and my first thought of the day is not drink. That's all I wanted. Every step I took was either drink or if I was near a bridge, jump off of that. Those were the 2 thoughts that I carried with me every day that I was out there. And a lot of back and forth with AA, a lot of white chips. It wasn't until I hit the worst bottom I ever had in 2019, and I was in the woods, in between couches, in between jobs, by 485 off of Harris. Camping is what I refer to it as, and I finally had a thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it tonight. And my second thought was maybe just call 2 people. So I called one guy who I've known since I was 12. No answer. And I was happy. I was happy because I'm doing what I requested. No idea why I thought of it. But I called the second guy who was in that madhouse with me 3 years of sobriety. It was 1:30 a.m. on a Wednesday when I think 11:30, a little blurry, but he came from Mooresville to Charlotte to pick me up because he was worried about me. I've known this guy over half my life at this point, best friend as of today, and the man was 3 years sober. And I was too drunk to really get into the details of how he did it. I didn't care at the moment. I just wanted a place that wasn't outside to sleep that night. And so we went back to his apartment in Mooresville. I went outside to smoke a cigarette. And I see my mom and dad standing outside the apartment. Keep in mind, I had 2 40s in my backpack, smoking a cigarette outside. And they said, we need to get you home. I mean, what choice? The guy clearly is not letting me sleep at this place at this point. I might as well. So I hopped in the back seat of the car. And I really don't think I said a word that whole ride home. And so I sat at home detoxing. First time I ever had to do that in 9 years. But went through all the symptoms, didn't eat, didn't sleep, hot sweats, cold sweats, the uncomfortable, itchy feeling you get from it. And I think about 4 or 5 days in, my sister was down, and we were all sitting on the couch. We were all sitting downstairs in the morning, and a pop-up intervention happened for me. I thought I was just sweating off the bad stuff, but turns out I needed to resolve this once and for all. And so, not much choice in the matter, but I agreed. I said, okay. A couple days later, I was on my way into the middle of nowhere in North Carolina at Hope Valley to get sober. Scared, confused. How is me being in a bunk bed going to get me to not want to drink anymore? And that was the first time I ever read the big book. I've been given 2 or 3 of them at this point, but I've yet to even crack open the first page, which is, I love that joke. I'm like, what does it say on the first page of the big book? That's a good one. That's a real good one. Old timers love it. Yeah, there was a guy in there who, it was his 3rd time in rehab, who was my bunkmate. And he said, I'm going to make it this time, and so are you. I still remember. I wish I remembered his name. I really do. I hope he's well. But yeah, I felt that was my first feeling like I might be able to do this. And on the way to that rehab, I still remember this was, even if you don't want to go, my dad says, just do it so I don't have to worry about you for 28 days. And I can, people pleaser Brett Myers here, I can make someone feel better about themselves, no problem. And if that motivation carried me into rehab with a positive attitude, so be it. I wanted it to stop. And I couldn't do it on my own. So I got sober, and I moved into a sober home in Mooresville, North Carolina, about 0.1 miles away from First Baptist Church. And those were my first real meetings. Picked up another white chip, met most of y'all in there, and I stuck with it for about 6 months. COVID happened, and I really am not trying to stir the pot here, but watching a bunch of people who know nothing about computers try to manage chat rooms and video chats with about 20 to 30 people as a guy who's worked on computers his whole life, pretty infuriating. And I was looking for any excuse to not go to them. But those were all that were available at that time. And so I moved in with the sober guy from the madhouse, and we stuck it out. We went to the gym. That was his version of sobriety. If it keeps him sober, I don't care. because he's an alcoholic too. If anyone is an alcoholic and they find some way to keep sober, I am happy for them. And went on for about 2 years before I thought I got this. I can be normal again. Well, normal-ish. And so I dilly-dallied with going to any meetings, talking to any other sober people, and wouldn't you know it, I had a pretty big relapse. Carried in and out. I would get 7 days sober, go out for a day, get 10 days sober, go out for a real day. And it wasn't until December 8th, December 9th, I was given tickets to go see a comedian for my birthday that year. And it was, I wanted my mom to go, so me and her went to go see him. But before I got to that door of her place, I saw her eyes, and I knew it was over. I knew it was over. I tried to hide it as best I could, and apparently I didn't check behind the couch. And she knew, and I knew that she knew, but we drove to the comedy, and we're sitting there for about 10 minutes. And she leans over and lets me know, you might have forgot something when you were dog sitting, bud. And I knew, at that point, I knew sobriety could work, and I knew that I had to get back to it. So December 10th, I walk in to the bridge, and people already knew who I was. Buddy was sitting outside, said, welcome back. How was your research? Very funny. I can appreciate the timing of that. I'm thankful that I had some place to go every day. I didn't have a job at that time, and my apartment lease was closing, and I had nothing planned for afterwards. So my first 20 days of sobriety was me going to the bridge, going out with sober people afterwards, sometimes getting picked up to go to other meetings throughout the day, and staring at my oven clock, begging it to hit 2 a.m. every night. Because I'm a drunk, but I gave up thieving a little while ago. And I knew that if I could just make it till 2 a.m., I was sober an entire day, and I had no opportunity to change that. So that became my goal. My sobriety turned into me getting to 2 a.m. every day. I was too terrified to ask for a sponsor, and that's why I'm so thankful that on December 31st at a great AA event, I did not ask someone told me that I was their sponsor, that I was their sponsee. And he saved my life, because I would have gone through AA again, no sponsor, just kind of picking the steps I want to do that day, and then just going about my sobriety. We started doing step work because I was told to. I started listening to every single one of you, and I was told not to say no to any of it. So I was jack of all trades as far as how to help others, and when to be where I needed to be at what time. I was driving trucks during the day, making meetings at night, calling my sponsor, praying to his God and my God, as I understood him. And I truly can't thank that man enough. I know we can gripe on him, but I love him to death. And the introductory period to AA, 90 and 90, reading the big book, networking was really hard for me. I'm uncomfortable in my own skin, so anyone making direct eye contact with me is usually a problem at that point. So making friends in AA was something that I didn't think I could do, and now, hey everyone, good to see you. It's truly the biggest blessing I've ever had that I was given someone that was so confident and aggressive in my own sobriety for me when I couldn't do it myself. He's taught me that I'm capable of just about anything. And I still to this day think he thought it was funny to elect me for AA intergroup events. But it worked. It worked. It got me talking to way too many people. It got me to be accountable in a different way. That was when I knew that I could do something about this. Because before I just wanted to be a ghost. I just wanted to be a back of the room. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, clap at the end, hold hands, walk out the door, drive off. But as far as networking in this program, that's what saved me more than anything. The antisocial kid from Sugar Creek talking to everyone was the cure for me. That was my sobriety. I needed to learn what you guys did because I wanted everything that you had, and I was going to get it. How do I get it? One day at a time? Okay, cool. Don't drink today. Got it. Do the steps? All right, we can figure this out. 3 is going to be a little challenging, but I got this. Pray to my sponsors, God, for a little while until I figure it out? Sure, no problem. You're the boss. No, he is my boss. It wasn't until step 4 and 5 that I knew I could finish the rest of them. Those were the ones I was terrified of. And he laughed at me when I read them to him and said that was chump change compared to what he's heard from other sponsees. And I think that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Let them feel a little easier about it. But it was a big moment. It was a big moment. Because that was the last hurdle in my own head of me truly staying sober. Was telling someone else who I was. I didn't like that. I didn't like who I was at that time, and getting through those steps, I saw myself being able to look in the mirror a little more every day. And now I can look at it just fine. I am happy with everything that I have been able to accomplish, everything that I've been able to learn, and it's all because of this program. Because without sobriety, I have nothing. I don't have the skill set to maintain anything if I go off the rails again. I'll still have the skills. I'm not going to show up for the job, though. God, I can't believe that I'm standing here with an honest 18 and a half months. I'm sure I'm a little late to the party in some people's eyes, but I'm thankful that I don't have to worry people today. I'm thankful that I can, talk to people. I'm thankful that I can make them laugh, and I'm thankful that I can be confident in my own self. Not a whole lot, but enough. It's truly a blessing of this program that I can carry the message to sponsees of my own. I can watch the glow of a newcomer come back. I can, help them help themselves, whether it be tough love or just some guidance. I mean, if you're in here, you're willing to listen to something. As long as it's better than what you already know that's out there waiting for you. I don't want to sleep on a camping chair by 485 ever again. I don't want to wake up on my living room floor feeling every organ in my body at the same time. I don't want to have arguments about things that I said when I have no defense because I have no idea what I said. I want to remember every day, good and bad. I've had plenty of bad ones. I've had a lot of good ones. I don't want to walk into this room at 126 pounds ever again. I'm just ready to die. I haven't had one thought in 18 and a half months, not one. Turns out, when you progress, you find a lot less reasons to hate yourself. And that's what I needed. I needed a foundation of sobriety in order to show that I can build off of that. I didn't think that my sobriety and learning something new would be so intertwined, but I truly don't see any other way that I can maintain anything without it. I was a great thief. I was a great liar. I can make that work for about 4, maybe 6 months. Bank account's gonna dry up, car's gonna get repossessed, house is gone. It's all gonna crumble. It's just a matter of time if I go out. I really got to remember that every day of what I'm capable of doing, so that I could look at the other side of the pendulum and look forward to what I am able to do for others and what I'm able to do for myself. It's a beautiful program, man. It makes no sense why we're all here today, but together we are strong. I guess I could have told more war stories, I don't know, but I don't think they're relevant. I really don't. I don't have cool stories. I drank in a bedroom for 9 years. Never got arrested. Don't know how that worked. Never did. Batting 1,000 over here. But I had enough consequences to the people that were surrounding me, that loved me and hated to see what I was doing, to know that I'm proud that they get to see something different today. I'm proud that their phone calls to other family members don't start with, "Did you hear?" or "Where is he?" or "When's the last time you talked to them?" I get text messages from people that I barely talk to saying, "I'm proud that what you're doing for your dad. I'm thankful that you're around for others. Thank you for picking me up. Thank you for the event." Got a lot of those. I just wanted to stop drinking, man. I didn't plan for all this. I just didn't want to die. That was my first goal, was not die. Because I knew if I died, my parents' lives would get shorter. You don't bounce back from that. That's what made them close calls and not attempts. Was because people-pleasing Brett Myers couldn't ruin other people's lives. I never figured out a way to disappear. I never figured out a way for everyone to stop caring about me, and I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad that AA exists, because without it, I've tried every other way of sobriety and it just didn't stick. It was a long time ago when this started, and I could hit up a dozen meetings within 10 miles of here on a daily basis. If I have bad days at work, I am blessed to know that I can go up to my boss, tell him exactly what's going on and exactly where I need to go, and I get an okay. It's the first good relationship I've had with a boss in quite a long time. And it's because I don't lie, cheat, and steal anymore, man. You know, I'm not toxic to be around, and I truly do want to help. I want to help others. I didn't want to do step 12. Some people saw me freak out when I got my first sponsee, but I truly want to help as many as I can go through it. I want to focus on making sure I put on good events with the good team I have. I want to make sure that I stay as integral. I want to be a major part of Iredell County AA, because I know the further I dig my heels into this program, the better I'll be. The more I put on my plate, the hungrier I'll get. because I can't live without it. I won't live without it. I want everyone else to be able to have a kind gentleman remind you that you're doing a speech in a month, all because you weren't sure if you were doing it last month, and he thought it'd be a great idea for you to do it this month because your sponsor lied to you and told you you're doing it a month in advance. That's why I love him. He's a trickster, but he does it for my own benefit. I could waffle on for another 10 minutes, but I think I've put a bow on it at this point. Yeah, okay. I would love to hear every single story in this room. I want to hear every single story in this room, because the more I learn from you, the more I learn how to be sober. Every single one of you has something different, a new idea on a new perspective that I didn't think about before. A new journey to this program. A couple of war stories, but keep it light. We're in a church. That's all I got, guys. I'm so glad to see every single one of you, and I'm thankful that I can keep my trajectory upward, because the further I go, the more I like me. And the more I like me, the better off I am for others. That's all I got. Thanks for letting me share.